It is the Anfield Wrap in association with The Athletic. Sign up to The Athletic if you go to theathletic.co.uk/The Anfield Wrap. Loads and loads of reductions there. Loads and loads of excellent writing as well on there at the minute. Something very, very good on Leicester, now they're trying to settle. And stuff about Guardiola and John Stones over the weekend that I thought was very much worth reading. So do sign up at theathletic.co.uk/The Anfield Wrap. In the room, I've got Chris Maguire, Paul Senior, Rob Gutmann, and Mike Girling. Swiss Mike is back. How are you feeling?
All right, cold.
Cold. I'd have thought you'd be all used to it. Yeah, you should be used to it.
It's the damp cold here, though.
It gets to your bones.
It does, mate. It's different.
All excellent stuff. Very good to have Mike back and everyone else who's in the room as well. Paul Senior, now you're going to believe us.
Yeah. It's been a while, even for the greatest of shithouses, which I am. I think yesterday was the one. I had a little run with Wolves and Tottenham and Manchester United as like, well, if you can get 9 out of 9 there, which I didn't think was unrealistic, but I thought it was tough, the three good sides, well, the three reasonable sides, and I thought if you can get through that and City drop any points, then you should be home and hosed, and it very much feels that way now.
It's one where normally, Rob Gutmann, it costs a fortune to get an ad on Sky Sports post-match, but Liverpool Football Club basically used it, the crowd, as an announcement, and it was spontaneous. I'm really fascinated by the sort of the group psychology of it, because I know I was roaring my heart out with it in the ground. I'm sure you were as well, that sort of idea of, this is it now, we're formally announcing at 6:20 on Sky Sports that we're having this season.
Yeah, well, I was announcing it from minute one. I mean, I had my usual small wines pre-game, so I was very enthusiastic from the get-go. So it was nice to see the crowd do it. I suppose I'm old enough to know that you did it much earlier than this, and it's not fate tempting to do it. In terms of in the ground, if you win on game 10, you go, and now you're going to believe us. It's a statement of intent. I know that was the way the cop did it at the end. There was a statement of near fact, not intent. It was just it is. Not famously, but you know me well enough to know that I put compo bets on against Liverpool, so I've been betting against Liverpool for a long time. After the match, I checked the odds, 75-1 on City. I thought, I have a piece of that, and that's probably my last bet of the season. Danny said to me, you're going to have to stop fucking doing this.
Just a few quid, though.
Yeah.
A few quid. I am so compensated if we fuck this up from here. That I finally hit the sweet spot like I don't care. I actually don't care. It is mental how in the bag it is.
It does feel like it's in the bag, Mike, and you can't take anything for granted. There's still a lot of football still to play. But given the results of the weekend, City dropping points yet again when you're just getting some momentum up, it just isn't unreasonable, is it? It makes sense.
It's weird. It's what it is. It is weird because there's so many different facets to think about. I mean, look, I said if we get to the end of January, and we keep winning, it's done, right? But I didn't think Leicester would drop points again. I didn't think City would drop points again, or keep dropping points in this space, in this run, right? And so I'm still sticking to the end of January because it doesn't feel right, because it's not even the end of fucking January. Do you know what I mean? And we're saying this, and it's too early. But I'm not saying it's too early as in it's tempting fate. It could go wrong. It's just.
Well, you shouldn't be talking about title winners yet, should you? Really?
It's too cold.
Yeah, exactly. It is too cold. Too many layers. But singing "Now You're Going to Believe Us," it was as much to do as when the goal happened as well in the 93rd minute. Yeah. It's as much to do with that as because it was tense, that game. I mean, I'll probably talk on about the game. The atmosphere-wise, it was quite weird. I thought it's because it was. I'm next to the cop, and I'm in the cop, but I'm opposite facing it, and it was tense. And I was like, "Come on, where are you?" You know what I mean? There wasn't a lot coming out of the cop, and you could see everyone was a little bit tense about this because they knew. I think if we win this game, deep down, even though you're not saying it, it's done. Do you know what I mean? You know it, and you could feel it. I could feel that tension, and it's because that goal happened when it did, right at the death, and they had to stay in and watch it,
which is just awful.
Which is the best because they thought they were going to get something out of that game, and so none of them sodded off.
And once you get past 70, you're stuck till the bitter end.
They've got to stay then. And then that was good about it.
You just felt they'd just kept us in for half an hour.
Everybody easy to split it round the other way.
3,000 of them get off, we'll all have a laugh.
Chris, it was. I think it's in part as well because it was up against them. There was a little bit of I think the psychology was at play. For instance, it's interesting to me when Salah scores, Henderson collapses in the centre circle. I mean, he ran himself into the ground as well. But I think everyone felt like it was in part because it was against your famous Manchester United.
It's always nice to sing it to them. I suppose we haven't had the opportunity to do that for a long time. You know, we've had the opportunity to do it about the European Cup, etc. But certainly not the league. And I just think it makes sense just to assume now that we are probably going to win the league. You know, I was quite bullish at the start of the season. I came on to a weekender show and I thought, you know, City's team from last season just isn't simply strong enough to compete with our team. You know, we've been on an upward trajectory for the last 18 months now, whereas they've plateaued last year and they couldn't even get into the final of the European Cup. And the loss of their two of their good players as well, they just can't live with this Liverpool team, and we're still going upwards. And it's just right to assume that we are a better side than them. And obviously the trophies that we've won since the start of the season have confirmed that. Obviously we're all being a little bit tentative by screaming from the rooftops that we've won the thing, but. I mean, that, as you say, just to do it against Man United and do it at the very last minute was fantastic stuff.
You messaged me last night, Rob, and said it's like we've...
Did I?
Yes. You'd had a pint. You also sent me a video of dogs that I've not properly looked at. But you messaged me last night and you said it's really weird, what Mike was saying, in that we've climbed to the top of the biggest beanstalk and there's no giant.
Yeah.
And it's a really strange thing that we've got ourselves, this club's got itself in the position to be able to win I think it's 91 of the last 93 points. Right. That they've started this season and they've only dropped points in one game, and we're in the depths of January. And they've got there, and the air is so rarefied. There's no one else there. There's no one else around. We've got there, and the cupboard is bare.
Yes, two crazy things are quietly happening. One, and I do remember now what I said to you. I said, I never thought, in all the years, we all fantasised in quiet moments to ourselves how it would be. How it would be when this happened. And not in our wildest dreams did we fantasise it would be like this.
Because we do things the hard way.
Because we do things the hard way. Or that, I mean, it seems poetic beyond anything a poet has ever conceived that Liverpool's finally doing it and coming back is in such glorious style. But what is mad about it is we knew we would have to be this. We realised in the last 18 months that we'd have to be this good to do it because we were chasing down this oil-fueled, financially doped behemoth that is Manchester City. And as I said to you with my pissed metaphor, they're not there, and that's the other parallel story of this season. They've become flaky. They're barely managing 2 points a game. They remind me of '91 Liverpool in the period where Kenny was going and then went. I think within 2 weeks of Kenny going, Liverpool go to Derby County and win 6-0 or 6-1. And we went, fucking hell, we're still a team. In the tail end of that season, we go to Leeds United at 4-0 up at half time, but we lose to 3-0 at Luton. This is why people still go, City on their day.
And Leeds finishes 5-4.
I know. People go, City on their day is still the greatest. No, they're not. You've got to have the mentality you're not the greatest.
Are City flaky or have they just returned to normal where Liverpool have? And I was thinking about this last night. Like, City could finish on 88 points. That would win you the league and so many Premier League seasons.
Could do, but they're not on that trajectory.
Not,
no,
77's
their trajectory.
They haven't put 5 wins together all season.
The teams are no longer scared to have a go at them. They've lost 5 games.
They're not there. They can't do a 1-0 City. They can't do it. Well, we can. They can't do a 1-0. They can do a 5-0.
They've only got one way of playing, and it's bash the draw down. And if the draw doesn't come down, then unfortunately they're not going to win the games that they were winning last year. Whereas Liverpool have got different ways of finding
defence is unbelievable.
I think we've eroded them, Paul.
Talk about it.
I think we broke their will. I think that is, and I think it's perfectly logical. They get 100 points one year, they get 98 points the next, and they're like, God, they're still going. Liverpool are still going. I think, no one had retained this title until City. I always say this: no one had retained it for 10 years, and it is that idea of what you've got to go again. And then you think about a few of their players. Bernardo Silva's had a bad season in general. Every now and again, capable of brilliance. And you pointed out yesterday, where's Raheem Sterling been for 2 months? Yeah. And it does seem like they've got a few of them. Yeah,
absolutely. So I think where Liverpool wouldn't go away last season, and obviously there's a point in it. I think to keep that going is very difficult, especially when you've won the last two. So I don't sympathise with City, but I can see why it's an arduous task for them to go again against a Liverpool team that just won't go away. But the thing for us is they set the bar that's going to win us the title. You know what I mean? They raised our level. We raised theirs last season because they couldn't take the foot off the gas and go for the Champions League or something, which we might be able to do. But Liverpool haven't gone away. If anything, they've made us better for the long term, but almost set the bar too high for themselves to attain. It's where they've got, to win a title you need high 90s, 100 points, whatever it may be. But can you get your own total? You know what I mean?
Can you beat your own high score? And the answer is no,
you can't.
Mike, the game itself, Liverpool 2, Manchester United 0, the shape of it was really, really strange to me in that it was a weird afternoon, I think, of football. Liverpool basically don't deserve to go 1-0 up and just go 1-0 up from a set piece. But then, within 5 minutes of going 1-0 up, Liverpool arguably have just batter Manchester United and should be 2 or even 3-0 up, and about 10 minutes later. It's really, really strange how the boost that goal gives Liverpool and the way United crumble for 20 minutes, I think, it just says the mentality of these two sides at the moment.
Their game plan was to be aggressive, Man U, and they were, and there was times, especially after we'd had our hot spells, and we do that, don't we? We do like 20 minutes of like, you can't live with us, and then we sort of like have to take a breath.
Yes.
We do that a lot. We don't do 90 minutes like of just going at you. We submit that is. It comes in spurts, and then we'll sometimes score 4 goals in like 10 minutes or something like that. Other times we'll be unlucky like we were yesterday. Like you say, we should have scored 3 goals in the first half easily. But their game plan was definitely, and I noticed it when they started to have a little period of control, they were physical. And I thought, we need to fight here. We've got to fight, because after we didn't score the goals, they were kicking. I thought they were beating us, in terms of a physical kind of midfield. If maybe not in the midfield, but across the pitch. I did think that they were up for it. They definitely came to try and, land a few punches on us. But it was a weird game because we were never. It's Rob's alarm.
Tickets for the Wolves away.
It was weird in that I definitely think there was definitely anxiety in the crowd, definitely, and it was kind of weird because I thought it would be super loud. That I thought everyone would be up for this
Sunday
game.
afternoon,
it would be proper loud, and
I think the missed chances.
It wasn't.
I think missed chances.
Deflated by that.
Missed chances get into a crowd's head, I think.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just that, Matt. I think it was the missed chance, the 2 disallowed goals. The crowd properly celebrated those 2 goals.
I didn't celebrate. I did not celebrate. I knew it was going to get disallowed.
Well,
there's
such
just
a great
no
finish
way.
from Firmino.
I know, it's shocking. It would have been his first goal at Anfield this season. It's wrong to take that off Bobby. But I knew that they were going to disallow it because they're shit houses, aren't they? And they're always going to do it. And even though I've looked at it back and it should never have been disallowed, how was he meant to challenge for that ball?
it's interesting, that one.
How can you challenge for it?
I watched it back last night and went, what's he meant to do? What's he meant to do? That's a clear goal. What the fuck are they playing? I've watched it back with slightly trying to be objectivised this morning, right? The only thing I'll point on, it's a general thing again.
It's really hard for you, Rob.
Yeah, it is. Very hard.
He's not facing the ball. He's going back to the ball.
What Van Dijk does, if it was 2 central defenders going together and they just make contact like that, not in a million years is that a foul. But Van Dijk does jump at the keeper. As I said, if it's a central defender, you're allowed to do that. But he jumps at the keeper and it slightly unhinges De Gea. His arms are down, but he uses the momentum of his body weight slightly, and he does. So I see why they did it. I think if you'd allowed
it's a cop-out for them. I think that's the cop-out they need.
It is a cop-out, I agree.
But because he's jumping backwards to get to the ball. But anyway, look, in terms of
I think it's easier to disallow the goal than give it, isn't
it?
Yeah.
But
I was amazed it was given in normal time. To be honest, because normally referees never give that. So that's but then when I then saw it back, I was surprised it was overturned a little bit. In that I think it should be given in normal time, if you sort of know what I mean. But I don't think it's quite big enough in the terms of the clear and obvious to this isn't like an offside one where we're able to say definitively anything. The referee's watching it live in front of everybody's eyes, and he didn't feel there was enough in it. So I didn't. And then when you watch it back, I thought, well, when you see it, you'll see that he's gone with his arm or he's led with his shoulder, and there's not really any of that. But that said, if that's the other way, well, firstly, I'll keep it.
But also, sorry, the ball does. If they jump and the ball dribbles down and falls in the net, then you go, let's have a proper look. But the ref was looking right at it, so he doesn't really get a better view by looking afterwards. And the play had progressed.
It had progressed.
It progressed enough so that, if there was a scintilla of doubt, you give that goal.
Definitely.
It is, Chris, difficult to miss chances and difficult to watch goals be disallowed. I think Liverpool have dealt really, really well with the video referee this season. I think we've dealt with it better than anyone else in that the mentality is so strong. So when there's a restart or when it goes against us, Liverpool have got the belief to sort themselves out and just say, right, we just start playing again. But I think that it was a difficult one for the crowd to watch the missed opportunities, to see the disallowed goals, and I think that's why there is a little bit of edginess, and then legs become an issue.
Yeah, but we're playing some absolutely fantastic stuff whilst we're getting them 2 goals disallowed. I had a lovely spec last night in the upper tier of the main stand, and it was fairly close to the halfway line. And so, some of the football, like you can actually see from that angle, we're knocking 4 or 5 passes together, and we're in the box. So it's as if they've been told you're only allowed to knock the ball around 3 or 4 times, and then you've got a chance on goal. And when you're doing that for 20 minutes halfway through the first half, it's bound to take an impact on your stamina, isn't it? So, yeah, it was difficult to see to 2 goals get disallowed, but
tell you what, Wijnaldum's goal was
we've got so much confidence. The ball by Oxlade-Chamberlain to Wijnaldum,
a little back heel before it as well. It's fantastic.
We're so confident in ourselves, Neil, that we will allow ourselves a 10-minute blow. So we don't concede goals anymore.
You know what we do? And I said it yesterday. We're like Ali, right? We do this thing where we have like these spurts where we just annihilate you for a bit, and then we sort of go back on the ropes like a good boxer does, who gives the impression that the other fella's on top for a bit, and he's soaking it up.
Yeah,
he soaks it up. He soaks it up, and they're letting him punch, and they look like they're getting hurt. And then all of a sudden they counter-attack, bang, like that. And we do that better than any team I've ever seen. And I mean that in my life. Better team than I've ever seen.
And what surprised me yesterday was most of our play was through the middle of the park. Normally you see Robertson and Trent.
How many goals
swinging
the balls from other people's corners?
Well, this is what our mate Julio was sat next to me yesterday, and every time United got their odd corner, I was going, "Fuck's sake!" And he's going, "No,
they're the best.
This is our chance." I mean, he was as right as you can be.
This is what we do,
and he's absolutely right. Especially when teams want to defend against us, they can't defend against us whilst they're taking a corner.
But for me, Paul, in terms of the soaking it up point from Mike, Martial gets that chance around the 60-minute mark, and if you actually boil it down, yes, there's a fair bit of play in our half, but United don't get another clear opportunity for the rest of the match. That was it. That was the chance that they had, was the Martial one that he blazes over. And yes, we're in reactive mode. Yes, we're sitting back. Yes, we're looking to hit on the counter. But it isn't as though they're opening us up. We're just really, really nervous because we're watching a football match and it's 1-0.
Yeah. I mean, if you take the emotion out of the game, it's completely different, isn't it? But if you watch the Champions League final back, I thought Tottenham were all over us for it. But once you watch it back, when you know what the outcome is, they don't land a blow. And I think in the grounds, we've touched on the emotion of the game and what was at stake. Once you look at it, the Martial chance is really the only cut and dry one, isn't it?
One in the first half.
You should do that
across the box.
That was offside. That and the flag doesn't go up. I'm convinced it was offside.
I've seen it again this morning. It's just on.
Is he?
Well, it depends when that's that issue when they stop the play as it moved off his foot. But the one with the Martial chance, it's not. It's a chance, but Gomez or someone's flying at him. Van Dijk's flying at him. Even if he strikes the target, it's a huge chance as a deflection wide or over.
I think. On that thing, you've got to trust what we do. I think we've learned to trust the Liverpool team. I mean, if this was 5 years ago, it was that game. I think people was walked up the ground grey. But I think we've grown. Obviously, with the likes of Gomez and Van Dijk and whatnot. Now, even though Manchester United had a lot of the ball, I felt exactly the same as Julio. I was like, there's going to become a point where they just overcommit themselves, and you'll get a goal like Salah's. And it was on. I said to myself on about 80 minutes, this finishes 1-1 or 2-0 because Manchester United were fair play. Not many teams do it, but they were trying to turn the screw on Liverpool a little bit. But as Mike said, you can sort of absorb that a little bit now and then hit them. It's great.
The frustrating thing, though, Chris, is their manager afterwards just talks some shite, and he shouldn't be Manchester United manager if we're all honest about it. But he's sort of, I mean, it's good for us, but he sort of gets what he wants weirdly, which is they are actually still in it with 15 to go. He sets the team up to still be in it with 15 to go. If you'd have offered them before the ball was kicked, it'll only be 1-0 with 15 to go. He would have took it, but it's frustrating in the sense that they don't deserve that. He doesn't deserve to get away with that one. They should have been 3 or 4-0 down, and there should be major questions being asked of him and his team.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen your piece, your review about the game, and you were saying that he should be sacked, basically, aren't you? But I don't know where they go from this point on in this particular season. What good would it be to sack him? They'll probably finish top 6. They possibly might win a trophy. I don't know whether
they're only 5 points off 4th though, Chris, and Chelsea are crap.
I mean, they had a game plan yesterday, and to their credit, it nearly got them a draw. It would have been unjust, but it could have got them a draw. They just haven't got enough quality in the same positions that Liverpool have got quality. And we've heard about the injuries to Pogba and a few others that they've got, but it's been terrible mismanagement from the top to to the bottom, really. So is it really Solskjaer's fault?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you look at Liverpool, or any club, and I think Arsenal are trying to cure this as well, it starts with the manager. The biggest investment FSG made at Liverpool, the biggest show of balls was to appoint Jurgen Klopp. And I watched the Keane and Carragher thing on Sky last night, and Carragher's absolutely right. How long do you give him? You can see Manchester United fans will be pleased to see the likes of Williams and Mason Greenwood and the like coming through, because everyone wants to see them little green shoots. But it's green shoots aren't enough for Manchester United. It's Manchester United, and I've always said I begrudgingly respect them. Manchester United, because I'm 32. All I've ever known is Manchester United. And what I've seen yesterday isn't Manchester United. It's a pale figure of Manchester United. So for me, they've got to start by sacking him.
But when you're sacking the likes of Mourinho and you're bringing him in, then you know there's something wrong at the top, don't you? You know, so.
Indeed, we're going to get onto some individual players from our we're going to get on some individual players from our point of view in a second. But before then, I'm going to sort of break from this, and then I'm going to have a bit of a chat about the stuff that's been going on with the website and the app, but with no one in the room. So the bit which is just me, we find ourselves in this situation where, frankly, the demand at the minute for the Anfield Wrap is absolutely huge, and there's some work we need to do on the website in terms of updating a number of things so that it runs smoother, runs better, and also some work we need to do on the server side. We're starting that in earnest. We did some work a couple of weeks back, which helped, but we've got a couple of processes to move along, and the Man United game just hits us really, really hard with the late win. All that said, it's not acceptable because people are paying, but also it's not acceptable because people come in and do work with us and do shows with us, and we want to get that stuff out as quickly as possible. So we are working on it. We are going to get it fixed, and all I can say is thanks to people for the patience at the moment. We'll be updating this process as it goes through, hopeful that we'll be smoother within a couple of weeks, and then from there then be making improvements that you probably won't even be able to see or acknowledge, but they'll be going on in the background, and that's our sort of direction of travel. And then from there, maybe something new and shiny as well. Thank you for downloading the app, and thank you for wanting to get the content. It is really appreciated. The support is always really appreciated. It's never taken for granted either, and we understand that people who are frustrated, it's because, well, they want to read the articles, or they want to listen to the shows, or they want to watch post-match pints. The frustration is perfectly natural, and if anything, the frustration is actually a compliment. But as I say, that's all that taken. It's still something that we're on top of, or we're getting on top of, that we're aware of, and we're working as best we can in order to get it done. So thank you very much for that, and now we'll get back on with the rest of the show. Back, and I want to talk about some players. Paul Senior, Henderson and Wijnaldum, the pair of them, it is some midfield performance. I think they end up having to have a second wind and a third wind as the game wears on, to be fair to both of them, but they're absolutely tremendous throughout.
To be honest with you, I thought all three were. That started. I thought Oxlade-Chamberlain as well offered something different, but yeah, and them two in particular do magnificent. That's back-to-back great games for the pair of them, isn't it? Henderson's in some form at the moment. I think Phil Blundell said last night there's a chance he could win Player of the Year. I think Mane will win Player of the Year, but he's absolutely in the conversation.
Liverpool's Player of the Year.
No, the league player of the year. His level has raised so much, and this is a lad who's played half the season as a number 8, half the season as a number 6, and been outstanding in both roles. And you don't hear the Henderson bashing no more, and rightly so. But I thought Wijnaldum for me stood out last night. I think he's the one where he doesn't always get the praise, and not everyone understands what he does. But if you want to understand what he does when he's really playing at a high level, watch him yesterday. Technically brilliant, winning every tackle. He was tremendous. As good a performance I think I've seen from him in a Liverpool shirt.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, do you know what? This might be a match. There's a lot of our players who are in contention for Player of the Year, if being honest about it. It's not enough. I remember when we used to get Player of the Year regularly through winning league titles, and therefore you're entitled to Player of the Year. So they dare give it to anyone but Liverpool players. There's got to be inquiries in the house. But some years it was John Barnes, and then some years you go, well, we just got to find a Liverpool player who's just epitomises the spirit of, like the year Steve Nicol won it. And I think we're actually having that kind of season, notwithstanding Mane's form. But Mane's sort of, I won't say sunk back into the pack exactly, but he's become one of the cogs in the machine more. Yeah. I think as everyone's stepped up in different ways. So almost, I think the Footballer of the Year awards this year have to be almost like a national spirit of Liverpool.
Like when we had all the goals in the
yes, exactly. But you know, I think
that was 89 one.
I think I didn't. It wasn't his best game yesterday, but I think Trent Alexander-Arnold, he will win the Young Player of the Year award for the number of assists he's put, the level he's gone to. He's a contender for me. You think you're picking five? You're churlish to ignore Alisson or Van Dijk. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think Firmino's been one of our most important players as well. I know he's lulled he's very very. He's back up recently, but he's back up to that level now. At the start of the season, he was fantastic.
No comment.
Do you want to get Phil Blundell on there? Phil Firmino's finished Blundell.
Yes,
we know who you are, Phil.
The thing about Henderson is that the best thing you can say about him is that since Fabinho's been out, Henderson's been an absolute revelation, and you haven't been worrying about that position that Fabinho held as his own. Before
he's shite, Henderson's much better.
I think when you don't ask Henderson to be so sort of aggressive and productive, he does a good job sitting in front of the two defenders. And as for Wijnaldum, he's just spinning around everywhere, isn't he? He's just winning every ball. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Just on Wijnaldum, though, he's a really interesting player, Wijnaldum, because when he first joined, I used to watch him and I go, what does he do? What does he do? And for a while, he didn't really.
Drifting out of games, wasn't he?
He didn't do, and I think what it is with Wijnaldum, he's a true product of Dutch football, Wijnaldum. They can play anywhere. Those boys can play anywhere. And he could do a job up front, out wide, centre mid. He can play as a false 9, as a 10. He can play winger, he can play centre half. He can play, and if you watch, he's skillful. He's kind of known for being super strong and having like Kenny's arse and holding people off and stuff like that. But look at that little nutmeg he does last night on the way to setting up Mane. Yeah, the finish is brilliant. But that little nutmeg he does when he plays it through the middle, it's skill. That is, there's not many. That's like a David Silva type, feat. That is. He's a boss player, Wijnaldum. Absolutely. Boss.
In part of him playing anywhere, I think one of the things that's unspoken about what Klopp does is I think he deploys Wijnaldum in areas, and it's interesting. He has, in our purple patch in the first half, he has 15 minutes where he's basically just left mid. He just goes left mid, supplements Mane. Rob, you've got Henderson holds the middle of the park. Oxlade-Chamberlain, I think, comes a little deeper and helps Henderson a little bit more in that period. But it's almost as though Klopp goes, right, Genie, just go and devastate them on this side for 10 or 15 minutes and be the brilliant footballer you are over there.
I sometimes wonder whether it's instruction or mood or inclination, because if you interviews with Ronaldo, the boss tells me I need to get in the box more. It's a mantra. I've made this. I think I made this point before. It reminds me of the Steve McMahon situation back in '88. About '88, him and Whelan used to very similar reprise of the Henderson Wijnaldum partnership. But you knew we were on for a good day when McMahon was breaking, and we're in our absolute pomp at the moment when Wijnaldum is breaking. When he's just where he feels his engine, his confidence, everything about him. You're probably right. In this day and age, it's probably instruction more than that. But it feels like he's got the wind at his back on these days.
I reckon he does just let him go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at the game against Barca, though. He comes on at half time, plays left mid, changes. He does really change that game. Wijnaldum, he scores 2 goals, but he's got that in it. He can do, and I think players like Wijnaldum, they can be victims of their own versatility. And so you don't know, where does he play, kind of stuff. And it's took a while, I think, for Wijnaldum to be seen as he's really good in loads of different positions, actually.
And he'll find his way through the match.
Yeah.
The centre backs, Paul, just dovetail beautifully. Stands so firm at the moment. They win so much there yesterday. They're no nonsense. But they play. It's a great centre half performance. Yet another clean sheet for Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, we all talk about Van Dijk, and Van Dijk's not changed, but Joe Gomez, the pace, the quality, just everything he possesses. I've spoke for a while. I think the biggest threat for Van Dijk's dynasty as the best defender in the world comes from his centre-half partner. I think he's unbelievable to do what he's doing at that age is incredible. But for me, it's like just that pace and the reading of the game that Gomez has got has just took. Matip was doing an absolutely fantastic job next to Van Dijk, and I think we could all appreciate that. And then even Lovren, when he came in this season, did a decent stint next to him. But Gomez has took it to a new level where he lets Van Dijk go and play a bit more. The pressure has come off Van Dijk so much. What a partnership! One that can be the best partnership, the best 1 and 2 in the world for I don't know how long.
Mike, it's a great partnership, but the other thing about them is that they're really, really good one-on-one 1v1 defenders, both of them. They can both defend in isolation of one another.
You've just taken my point. The reason we can play the way we play is because Klopp allows our defenders to go 1v1, right? Whereas you don't get that normally. So the attacking team normally has an extra man because you have an extra defender to cover for the run and stuff like that. So you'll find if they've got 3 up front, you'll keep 4 back, right? He doesn't do that. He plays man to man defenders because he basically backs, as you say, each defender. So he'll keep it means that we've always got an extra man, always when we attack, and because he has that much faith in our defenders and our defence that he doesn't need to back them up with another player, and so the pace helps, right? Obviously, and it's, to be honest with you though, it's all because of Van Dijk, because he is so dominant and domineering, right? For that bot, and everybody who plays alongside him plays well as well. He has that thing. He's just, I think City have lost that with Company, to be honest with you, and that's one of the reasons why they've gone under, because he's gone. But everybody plays well alongside them, but he's also, everybody who plays against him is shit scared of him. Everyone, and so he will happily take one-on-one with any player in the world, and Gomez will happily go one-on-one with anyone in the world because he's fast. He's so fast, and he's as fast as any of them, and that's the way. Without that, we can't play the way we play.
Do you think one of them's like a front-footed, like an attacking? I think Gomez is the one who puts his foot in.
I don't think we do that.
He's the guy who throws
the situation, whereas Van Dijk will stand back and
Gomez is the one who's like in the.
He's more like Lawrenson.
Yeah.
He'll throw himself on a grenade. Gomez. That's. He's got that and the recovery pace as well as his other attributes.
Lovren used to do that, but he always had a couple of ricks in him as well.
Lovren's a front foot defender. Now, the difference with Lovren is he's got to have a fight with whoever he's playing against, and you don't always win those fights, and he can leave you exposed. Then they don't do that. They both play football. Against whoever they're playing against, they play football against them. It's different. So I don't think either of them are front foot defenders. They can do anything. They're footballers. That's the difference between us and anybody else.
Mike's right about the man for man thing. That it does enable us to cheat. And I think Guardiola, his whole setup has always been about cheating. He only plays one in midfield. Let's be right. De Bruyne and Silva aren't playing in midfield. They're playing as number 10s. But he relied on having that quality behind, and it's just the minute it's not there, and someone's bold enough to look at that in the face, they are there for. That's why they appear so flaky.
The setup must be a nightmare for opposition. So you get through that industrious midfield, and then you met with Van Dijk and Gomez, and if you get through them, it's like Sonic the Hedgehog or something. Is it the bosses at the end? You've got Alisson there. It's just a horrible thing to go through, and then even missed them out there. The forwards are pressing you to death. It must be horrible to play against.
After United changed it yesterday, there was a point where James goes left mid, that Williams goes off, James goes left mid, and there was a point where Trent went with James. James was going backwards, and he went with him to close him down all the way into by his own corner flag. And that's one-on-one defending. That's their idea of, you're my man, and I am going to pin you in this place. So this is how hard it's going to be for you to get out. I'm pinning you all the way down here, and I'm trusting the players behind me. I'm trusting my own ability that if you manage to do something, we'll sort it out, we'll get back in. But I think that's the way they're able to just pin people and just send them where you'll play where we'll let you play. That's where you're going to get to play where we'll let you play, and that's what they do so well. The other one I do want to talk about, Chris, is the scorer of the second goal. His strength, not just there, his strength right the way through the game for me is just magnificent. He gets pulled and pushed, and it does feel at times as though he's got his own set of rules that he's got to play to that opposition defenders know about and he knows about and referees know about, but we don't. But he never ever shirks, and while he can frustrate you at times, I think that Salah's willingness, scrappiness, is sheer fighting spirit's magnificent.
Yeah, he's a powerhouse, isn't he? I mean, you could see that when he took his top off. He's ripped like Cristiano Ronaldo now, I think, isn't he? He's so fast. And did you see the speed of was it Daniel James who tried to pull him down, whereas Harry Maguire was just sort of jogging behind him? He's meant to be their
fastest player, James.
James, well, I mean, the fact that he's trying to bring him down or trying to challenge him, he's a striker, isn't he? But yeah, I mean, Salah's been at a great level. It's just that he hasn't been banging them in as much as we know he can do. But yeah, it's a great finish.
He uses his body, doesn't he? Like it was Suarez, I thought in the derby.
He could have gone down for the penalty, but I don't think James. I think James had other ideas. There's no point. Is that he's taking a red card and you're still not going to get in the game. It's too late.
Do you know when he went through? Like it was for a flash second. I just seen 21. on James's back, and I thought, oh, fuck, Herrera's got him. Just quickly, I was like, oh, he'll just take him out here. But no, I mean, in the 93rd minute, I can't believe he didn't take him out.
I think I was
think 5
surprised.
minutes earlier he probably does.
I was
surprised.
surprised. I didn't realise it was James at first. I thought any defender's more aggressive than that, and there's a near penalty shout or there's something to put him off. The James is there because they're throwing everything forward and they've got their fastest lad at the
He
back.
doesn't have
just
to catch him. If you look at it again, he
Yeah.
just makes up some ground over 3 or 4 yards.
But he's not a
can't get him,
defender,
though.
and
Still can't
Salah's
get to
too
him.
cute
Can't
for
get to
him.
him, no.
The fact that Salah's able to get a clean, measured shot away, no defender
So
allows
strong.
him to do
It
that.
reminds me a bit in terms of the applied pressure from the defender. Was it Suarez against Everton where
That's what I'm saying,
where Jagielka's chasing him back, but you've just got too much strength. And
Do you know what it was else? It was like Torres with Ferdinand on him.
Yeah.
Torres breaks
Yeah.
through,
Yeah.
Ferdinand's leaning on him and he just holds him off. And
hits
he
the
buries
near
it
post
into the
shot.
top. Yeah.
that's difficult to do that because running with a football is much harder than running without. And for the lads of Daniel James's pace to hold him off, obviously he's not the strongest lad on the pitch, but to hold him off and get round the gear, some finish.
His whole performance, though, Paul, I think he's excellent through the game. I think he drives you mad. He scuffed
He does
that
drive
one.
me mad.
Yeah.
He scuffs the one where he really should score. You know, you can't ask any more than that 6-yard box between the sticks. I'm sure he'd say that himself, that he should be putting that into the back of the net, or at the very least.
All the front three doing that, though, Neil.
Yep.
They're all doing it.
They're all. I think it's interesting at the moment because they're very creative. They're playing well.
Yeah.
But the thing that you actually need them to do is stick it in the back of the net. We get through 1-on-1.
Exactly. He did the same. He did it twice, didn't he?
Yeah.
This
But
is
they're all doing it.
This is why the only. That's not a flaw. We don't play with an orthodox striker who's bred
a barrier.
Moscow. Although I have to say, Salah's miss, his little back half-yard backward step to be there to allow the cutback is genius. It's just, I suppose, it's the pace of it. It's one of those things.
It's his shin.
I think he's put off by Lindelof slipping in front of him. I think he thinks
so
Lindelof's
too.
going to get it, and then it gets to him, and he's like,
I think that happens too. But it does happen, though. I mean, and going back to our defence, no one talks about our defence, really. They talk about the front three, don't they? It's such a cliche, best front three in the world, that kind of stuff. Actually, in terms of a threat for other teams to deal with, they are. But they're not scoring like the best front three in the world right now, not necessarily, because they're missing loads of chances all the time, every game. But what is the best in the world is our defence, but no one talks about it. That is the best defensive unit in the world, hands down. No one comes close to it. We haven't conceded a goal in about 7 games or something daft like that now.
It's 14 all season.
Alisson
It's
hasn't
insane.
conceded a goal since November.
yes,
It's
since Crystal
insane.
Palace. There's something, Paul, for me in what's being said there that, listen, we've talked about the getting nervy and all of that sort of stuff, but we murder Manchester United, and it's not the execution of a game plan from that manager or anything like that. We murder them, and the game should have been taken away from Mourinho's Tottenham. The game should have been taken away from Manchester United and Solskjaer. It should have been, and that is something to improve upon. And it's not improving upon much because the chances are there. It's not like the chances aren't being created. Liverpool have just got to be a little bit more ruthless because, yes, they're defending brilliantly, but they're putting themselves in a position where they're vulnerable late in games.
Yeah, and it has got to stop. And I think the only criticism I can find of this Liverpool team is a little bit of cutting edge. And we score in every game, and that's fine. It's fine when we're not conceding in seven games. But yeah, we've got to start putting some distance between teams. It's hard to find anything to be critical about, but if you're going to be critical, that's the one thing it would be. I think the Salah chances are gilt-edged chances, and it should be 2-0. You can argue that the disallowed goal for Firmino is 3-0, and then maybe, there's your game, but it wasn't. It was 1-0 up until 93 minutes. And
Mane has
Henderson
two.
Firmino slices one.
brings a great save out into Gea, doesn't he? Henderson.
hits it's a save onto the post there.
Yeah, he touches it onto the post.
Mane puts one wide as well in the second half.
One in the first.
I actually think there's, I might be right, no gap really in the quality of the performances when they analyse them back between Leicester, which is seen as the defining performance, Tottenham and Man U. I think they're all the same performance in a certain sense. I think Liverpool are brilliant in all of them. But at key and let's also remember they're all against top sides relatively in this league. So if in Leicester, if our second and third don't go in, it becomes the same as the Man U game. And if our second goes in, it becomes the Leicester game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say that the difference in them games is that we do the performance level. I thought Liverpool in periods were hitting the heights we hit against Leicester.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Well, at the start of the second half, 15 minutes, it was breathtaking.
That around the time where Henderson kicks it into the play and it goes out for a throw, I was watching in awe of what Liverpool were doing. I thought, if we're even doing that, where Henderson's going for a tackle and deliberately knocking it off a lad for a throw in that moment, it was just like, what standard the Liverpool team will be watching here. But the difference between the two games, the Leicester one and yesterday, is just putting the ball in the back of the net. I think the thing is, if this is us not putting the ball in the back, it's going to come again. So
this is what I'm thinking. I think what I think's wonderful. I think Klopp will enjoy about it. Although we can go, well, we had a sweat there. Is we're taking games. And remember, we're not finishing off Burnley at home. We're not finishing off Southampton. This is not finishing off the sides that should be able to give us a game. But having not finished them off, we find a way to stay in the game and be ready for the counter punch.
What I mean there is, though, like this is managers almost design a deliberate dip in form up for the run-in, don't they? Where I think Klopp's original plan was, well, from February when the Champions League comes back, we'll be ready to go. So this last few weeks it's been 1-0s and we're just getting through games and making it happen. With Atletico Madrid now on the horizon, is this where Liverpool kick on again and you do start seeing a more free-flowing?
Absolutely. Chris, there's subs. Lallana doesn't quite work for him. It's really strange to me. The game is slowing, but he just can't quite seem to get to the pace of it. And I mean that in every sense. Like at times he's charging around the pitch, and I think it's damaging the shape.
Fouls.
And giving away daft fouls and trying to get into it. So it wasn't as though, but I don't know. I think some games are just hard to get into as a sub, and I think that Lallana struggled just to find out where the football match was happening. To be honest with you, Chris.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's fair. We had to take it. I think it was Oxlade-Chamberlain came off. I think he was at that point. He'd started losing the ball as well, and he looked like he was tired, and so it was the obvious substitution to make. And as you say, Lallana, he's an intelligent footballer. If he's been reading the game from the substitutes bench, you would expect him to come in and make an impact. But yesterday just wasn't his day. It was good to see Fabinho back on the pitch as well. Yeah. I'm not surprised he didn't start. I expected Oxlade to start, and it was good to see Fabinho back in, and maybe he gets his start against Wolves on Thursday. And Origi, he didn't really get into it either, did he? It was just I was surprised he made two subs at the same time, to be fair, because I thought he might have left one for the very end of the game to
change the formation,
to waste a couple of minutes.
I think there was a moment where you thought we were losing legs. Yeah. And I think that's what that was about. Just go and just change the percentages on who's fresh.
I think the substitutes have become quite obvious, aren't they? I think it's Origi for work rate for Mane. That's to track him back
to be an outballed, wins his head against the right back, etc.
As soon as 60 minutes hit, I was expecting Lallana. It was the change he makes at Tottenham. I think there's situational go-tos, and I think the thing was the same as the Tottenham game where things were getting a bit tight and whatnot. Lallana for legs, for energy, for pressing and all that. But the only thing is that Lallana worked against Tottenham.
He did the like for like, didn't he? What happened was they were starting to get joy down against Trent, and they kept going that way, and that's where all their pressure was.
Making errors, wasn't he, Trent?
Yeah, it was defensively, and he wasn't getting any cover really by Oxlade-Chamberlain. So I think Oxlade-Chamberlain's legs are probably gone because he wasn't in the game at that point. So he did a like for like swap with him and Lallana, but that's probably the wrong player to bring in because he's not the fastest either, is he, Lallana? And but he didn't get in it, like you say, and then he changed the formation, and then he changed it. He put two subs on. He did 4-2-3-1 then.
Milner would have been his ideal if he'd been fit.
If he'd have been fit, he would have done Milner all day. But then he changed it with 4-2-3-1, and that's how we score. Like that was Salah left on his own up front.
Well, I think in general there's, Rob, a conversation a little bit around legs. I think that the manager might well have been, we know that he works them hard in this period. I suspect it's been no different this time. Wolves it's a nice number of days. They get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to pull themselves together, and then the game on Thursday. But it wouldn't surprise me if he actually does make a couple. I know Shrewsbury's Sunday, but it's not so much about that. I wonder if he'll just want this Liverpool side to be as sharp as it can come kick-off.
Yeah, I mean, there's not an issue Wolves to West Ham. That's as good as a week. It's 6 days because Shrewsbury will be a 10-man change team. There's no doubt about that.
Same team as Everton.
But Sunday, Thursday it's a midweek after an intense game. As you said, it's not too tight, but I would say if you look at Klopp's form for this sort of thing, it's two changes in the front six is what he'll do, and the temptation will be to bring Fabinho back in. He may just go Fabinho, Wijnaldum and Henderson and go, well, do you know what, I'll put my wall midfield in against a feisty opponent away from home with a look to maybe get one of Gini or Henderson off after 60 because they've run around a lot. Let's just see how they are. But I think he'll think not Chamberlain, not Lallana. The front three, I think he just says, go again, lads. I just do. So maybe my 2 is optimistic, maybe just one.
There's lads that need minutes when you're looking at the Shrewsbury game. You know,
yeah, of course.
You've got Fabinho, Mata, Minamino, Lallana can play. I don't know where Milner is, but Shaqiri wasn't even in the 18 yesterday. Curtis Jones.
Don't know. I've not read. I want to know.
There's plenty there for the manager to do in terms of putting a strong side out.
It is.
It's a really, I think it's a
tough game.
It's a really difficult game, Mike. I think at the minute they could be the 4th best team in the country, Wolves. And I think that you take it on that basis. Go into their gaff, delivered with us. They beat City. They beat City in an evening game. Everyone's blood was up. All of that sort of stuff. I think it's going to be one of our hardest remaining games of the season.
This is why I said at the start. I've said all along. At the end of January, I'll start getting the bunting out. It's because it's the way these games fall as well. Beating United, the way I don't want that to feel like that's it, done. I don't. You guarantee then you slip up. You know what I mean? Because you're not quite on your mettle then the next game.
I don't think
it's
he'll know.
done.
I often think about
the fans do though, and
true.
Everyone's already gone like this is like this does not slip. Famously, Stevie G. You know what I mean? After City, we beat Man U, and that's it. Now it's all done and dusted. The next game's Wolves away, which is a fucking hard game. And they at home they've had great records against big teams, against City and teams like that. They've won. Do you know what I mean?
I think the interesting thing though is
we have got to go. We've got to forget Man U, forget it. For that game, they've got to forget it. It's get that game won. Get to the end of January, and then you can start getting your stuff.
I think we're looking over the shoulder of the league title, if truth be told, because players aren't stupid. They know it's done. Klopp knows it's done, but I think they'll find within the motivation within them to not allow that to slip. And I think there's fans will do it as well. We're going to start be talking about the invincible record soon. Yeah. Well, we have already, and we're going to be talking about City's points record, the 101 points. And I think those are serious things. And Klopp will also be keen because we've got no chance in the European Cup if we don't stay in rhythm. The European Cup is a major target now for us, alongside our inevitable league.
But
title.
just talking about Wolves though, and the old mantra, one game at a time. It's there for a reason. And if I'm not saying the players or Klopp will ever let that, but we certainly do. Fans do, right? And I don't want that, because that Man U game, it seemed, like I said at the time, it was like a pressure cooker. There was so much anxiety around that game, and they've won it, and it was like a relief, and it was almost like you said, Henderson was on his knees at the final whistle. But we've got Wolves now. We've got to win this game. It's going to be hard.
Wolves is going to be huge. It's going to be absolutely massive, Chris.
It is.
He goes last time. He brings Lallana in. He plays 4-2-3-1. I think I take Rob's point. It might just be a couple of changes. He might go with this. He might go with that. He does as I say, he wanted to start Shaqiri. It was discussed afterwards. He wanted to start Shaqiri in the home game against Wolves. I don't think it's as simple as he'll go with the same again. It wouldn't surprise me if it is. He does make one or two. He does change the shape. Well, there's a chance he could do Origi left, Mane right, 4-2-3-1 and go from there, Chris. I think it might be shook up a bit more than people think.
You've got to ask yourself what way are Wolves going to look at this fixture. Are they going to look at it as we want to be the team to finally beat Liverpool?
Everybody thinks that now.
Who's going to beat Liverpool in this great season? I'm quite glad.
I think this is Wolves' biggest game of the season.
I'm quite glad we drew against United away, and unfortunately we drew against United away because we haven't got the pressure now of having to win every game to have a 100% record. And if we go to Wolves, and the cushion that we've got now is realistically we can afford a draw. We might not like it, but we can afford a draw now in a couple of these big games that we might have away from home. Wolves.
That's it. It's it.
West Ham, etc. Is it West Ham at home or away?
Away.
You'd expect to beat both sides, but the good thing is we've got the squad now to be able to do it, Neil. And like you say, the likes of Origi can come in and totally change the way we play.
I hope they bring that DJ back from last season.
Tremendous.
The
light show.
Yeah, almost. What a thing. I think it's the toughest game between now and the end of the season. I think
City away.
Well, sorry, yeah, of course, City away. But of the rest,
done and dusted by then.
Right.
Yeah.
Apart from City, we've only got Arsenal away, which the current Arsenal, not an issue.
Arsenal away. If we are still unbeaten and it's the third to last game of the season, and we go to Arsenal away, that'll be their cup final. It'll be the biggest game they've had in 10 years.
Sounds beaten 4-0 if they're in that mood.
Well, I'm just saying. I think Arsenal away will be difficult, but I think this will be hard because they are still smart and Paul from Anfield. All the VAR crap.
The reason I say it's the biggest game, sorry Neil, is because I think when we go to City, what will City have to play for? Really, there's so many more games gone. You think Liverpool will be in?
They'll have a Champions League game probably, in the week after.
There'll be so much. their attentions will be on other things. Whereas Wolves, you know, we're talking about the top four. Wolves being the fourth best side in the country.
Only 5 points off Chelsea as well.
Well, this is what I'm getting at. So Wolves have got almost more to play for. In this, I fear this fixture more than most. You know, I think when we go to City, it'll be, you know, I don't know how many games there will be left, but 6. Well, exactly. There's no coming back from that. Where Wolves have got it all to play for. Thursday night, which is a mad night to play football. I just
on the telly.
I think it's going to be horrible.
So do I.
And it's often horrible when you go to Wolves, but I think there could be one of them ones where you look back and go, wow, if you get a win there, that's massive.
It's going to feel huge.
Do you know what? I said this to Gareth I did a preview show with him last week before Man United, and I was talking. Gareth says, we're going to tonk them. This is their thing. We're so much better. And I was going. I'd have said that 3 games ago, but I'm talking myself. We have a habit of talking ourselves into the next opponent because it means so much being the biggest opponent. Now, Wolves are good, but Liverpool are a lot. They aren't better than Leicester. In fact, I think Leicester are a better team than Wolves. And by some distance, I think if we're calm, we stay in our groove, they can't really let
I agree with you in terms of Leicester being better, but
Wolves
I think in terms of that, well, that's it, isn't it? In terms of a difficult fixture,
dirty,
I think Wolves are horrible.
Yeah. Okay, prediction?
After everything I said, 3-0 Liverpool.
Rob?
I think it's 2-0.
1-0 Liverpool.
I'll just go for the 1-1 draw I suggested before then.
Excellent
Boo.
stuff. It's allowed. Brilliant stuff, Chris Maguire, Paul Senior, Rob Gutmann and Mike Girling. Thank you very much. The Athletic, in partnership with the Anfield Wrap through this season, theathletic.co.uk/the Anfield Wrap to sign up. Thanks again to the gents in the room. Liverpool start again on Thursday against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and whatever we believe, it kicks off at 0-0. They've got our points and we've got to do it all over again.